What's good? Yes, I got the flower in my hair. Today's my daughter's birthday. She put the flower there, so I'm rocking it. What?
The ocean whispered calm, but something felt wrong. The sun poured down like any perfect day, yet it seemed more like morning than noon. Just beneath the shimmering waters off Costa Rica's coast, a life was slipping away quietly, tragically and completely alone. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, a name that lit up a generation. The beloved Theo from The Cosby Show, the heartbeat of a cultural era. A man who once brought joy into millions of homes was now gasping for air beneath an unforgiving sea. No spotlight, no laughter, no applause, just the crushing weight of silence and the desperate fight of a man whose time wasn't supposed to end. Witnesses recalled him swimming, smiling, until everything changed in an instant. A rogue wave, violent, sudden, merciless, dragged him under as if it had been waiting. He fought to live, kicking, screaming, clawing for survival. But the ocean doesn't listen, and when it was over, all that remained was eerie silence. They pulled his body from the water, not in chaos but in stillness. His face looked peaceful, too peaceful. His skin was cold, and according to the coroner, his lungs were heavy with seawater. He hadn't blacked out and drifted away. He had drowned fully conscious, fully aware, fighting, dying alone. Now the world is asking, why wasn't help nearby? How did no one reach him in time? Was this just nature's cruelty, or something far more sinister, hiding in plain sight? This wasn't just the death of a man. It was the silencing of a voice that once inspired millions. In the hospital, as the news was confirmed, his mother, barely able to stand, could only whisper through trembling lips, "My baby." Why didn't anyone save him? What happened that day was darker than anyone imagined. The sun was shining, the ocean sparkled, families laughed along the shore. But behind Costa Rica's postcard-perfect paradise, death was already moving, quiet, fast, invisible. A storm was brewing beneath the gentle waves, and in its grasp was a man the world thought it would never lose. For decades, Malcolm-Jamal Warner's face meant family. His laughter meant comfort. His presence brought people together. But that afternoon, none of it mattered. There were no cameras, no scripts, just water, and the cruelest twist of fate imaginable. He had gone into the ocean alone, seeking a private moment of peace. Some witnesses said he looked free, as if the water was healing him. But then came the shift. A violent undertow, sudden and ruthless, pulled him far from the shore. In seconds, the calm was gone. One bystander later recalled, "There was a strange sound, like a choke or a shout. By the time we turned, he was just gone. No lifeguards, no flotation device, no trained responders, only panic. People screamed, some froze. Someone dialed for help, but it didn't come fast enough. When they finally recovered him, everything had changed. The sky had dimmed, clouds were moving in, and his body floated lifeless, his expression hauntingly still. But what the autopsy revealed next sent chills through the investigation. Over 2 liters of seawater in his lungs. That meant he was fully alert during the early stages of drowning. He had been conscious, suffering every second, struggling, gasping, hoping, while no one noticed. Think about that. A man who once gave us his voice, now rendered speechless beneath the sea. A fighter, a legend, slowly fading into silence while the world kept turning. Investigators noted scratches along his arms, the marks of a frantic swimmer, bruises on his chest, likely from being slammed into sharp rocks beneath the surface. One forensic diver said it looked like he refused to surrender until his body could fight no more. And then came the discovery that shattered everything. His phone, recovered from a zipped beach bag, held an unsent message in drafts. It read, "This place is beautiful. I feel at peace here, like something heavy is finally lifting." Was it foreshadowing? A strange goodbye? Or something deeper? You tell me. But why was he out there alone? Just 3 days before the tragedy, Malcolm had landed in Costa Rica. Close friends said he hadn't been himself lately. He craved silence, refused press interviews, turned down a lucrative podcast deal, even ghosted industry friends. "I need to disappear for a while," he reportedly told one confidant. Some say he was fighting a storm of depression. Others believe he was preparing something powerful, a raw, unfiltered documentary on mental health in the Black community. But now all that remains is aching silence. No film, no comeback, just questions that cut deeper with every hour. The moment the news broke, the internet shattered. Please tell me this isn't true. This can't be happening. My heart just broke. And then came a tweet that gutted fans everywhere. Malcolm-Jamal Warner died alone in the ocean. While the world kept scrolling, this wasn't just tragedy, this was abandonment. Back at the hospital, when Malcolm's body arrived, staff froze. One nurse whispered, "No, not him, not Theo." But nothing compared to what came next, the arrival of Malcolm's mother. Her eyes swollen, her voice trembling. She stepped into the emergency wing like time itself had stopped. "Where is my baby?" she asked. "Where is my shining star?" They pulled back the sheet, and she collapsed. No scream, no hysteria. Just a sound, soft, hollow, soul-breaking. The sound of a mother realizing her son was truly gone. He loved the water, she wept. Why didn't someone help him? He was just swimming. In that moment, a million hearts shattered. This wasn't just about a celebrity's death. It was the loss of a soul who lived with humility, who carried the weight of fame without letting it break him. A man who gave the world his laughter and received only silence in return. Malcolm wasn't just a sitcom star. He was a symbol of resilience, of talent without scandal, of someone who survived fame and still stood with integrity. But the ocean didn't care, and the questions were only growing darker. Authorities in Costa Rica quickly called it an accidental drowning. Case closed. But fans, friends, even his family aren't buying it. Why weren't there lifeguards on duty? Why wasn't he warned about the deadly rip currents? Why was there no emergency plan in place at a luxury resort? And then came the twist nobody was ready for. A chilling phrase surfaced, "Disappear, or we'll make it happen." Was he involved in something he couldn't escape? Had he come to Costa Rica to hide or to find peace before facing something worse? Whispers suggest someone may have been following him, watching him, waiting, and with the autopsy confirming. He fought desperately to survive. Few believe the narrative of a simple drowning. Fans are demanding answers, demanding accountability, demanding truth. Because this wasn't a peaceful passing. It was something else. A death cloaked in shadows, where the real killer may not have been the waves, but what came before them. As millions stream old Cosby Show episodes, candles flicker in windows across the globe. Hashtags ignite. Nike's search, Nike Theo forever, Nike's justice for Malcolm. Emotions boil, but one question refuses to fade. Why did no one save him? Inside that emergency room, the air had changed, suffocating and silent. Every tick of the clock was a countdown. Every footstep echoed like forever. Doctors rushed around Malcolm's body, machines blinking wildly, trying to make sense of the chaos. But behind those beeps and wires, something else was happening. Something hidden, something no one saw coming. Later, a nurse whispered, he came in gasping, but it didn't feel like drowning. Something else was attacking him. Outside, the world had already exploded. Phones buzzed non-stop. Headlines blared. Fans begged for someone, anyone, to say it wasn't true. Hashtags lit up timelines. But beneath all that noise was a raw, painful truth. At 5:22 p.m., the team gave up. CPR stopped. Code Blue faded into flatline. And just like that, Malcolm-Jamal Warner, only 54 years old, was gone. Or so it seemed. The true horror arrived hours later. The full autopsy report dropped like a sledgehammer. Inside his lungs, not just seawater, but blackened residue, toxic, chemical, lethal. Experts identified the substance as a compound often found in low-quality pool cleaning chemicals, the kind used in outdated filtration systems or worse, left to rot in neglected water tanks. This wasn't just drowning. This was chemical asphyxiation, slow, brutal, silent. Forensic investigators were stunned. How had this toxin entered his system? Was it negligence by the resort? A broken filter? A contaminated tank? Or had someone deliberately tainted the water? And then silence. No comment from the resort. No safety report. No public apology. Just boarded up windows, cancelled bookings, and PR teams in hiding. But the bombshell wasn't done dropping. Leaked security footage from the resort's pool surfaced online. In the grainy clip, Malcolm sits poolside, calm and thoughtful, sipping from a water bottle. He stands, walks to the edge, and dives in, then glitch. The footage skips several seconds. Suddenly, he's seen resurfacing in distress, coughing violently, clawing at the pool's edge, his eyes wide with panic. His body jerks. He clutches his chest. He tries to climb out, but collapses, sliding back beneath the water. The clip ends, and with it, the nightmare had only begun. The surveillance video didn't just go viral. It exploded. 92 million views in 6 hours. Viewers were shattered. Comments flooded in, crying emojis, prayers, heartbreak written in disbelief. "I grew up watching him," one post read. "It's like losing a part of my own childhood." But the deeper the world looked, the darker it got. An anonymous resort employee stepped forward, their voice trembling as they revealed what management had tried to bury. The pool, they said, had been a known hazard for weeks. Guests filed reports, burning eyes, strange chemical smells, trouble breathing after just a few laps. Maintenance crews begged to shut it down, but upper management refused. Money came first, the whistleblower confessed. They didn't want to lose profits during peak season. Malcolm wasn't the first to get sick. He was just the first to die. Now a criminal case is underway. Prosecutors are preparing to charge the resort with gross negligence. And behind closed doors, there's even talk of second-degree manslaughter. As that legal storm brews, Malcolm's body began its journey home, draped not only in a flag, but in the same silence that claimed his life. The cast of The Cosby Show released a statement just after midnight. Malcolm wasn't just Theo, he was our family, our joy, our light. What happened is unforgivable. We stand with his mother, we stand for the truth. But nothing pierced hearts more than the voice. Message Malcolm quietly recorded 2 nights before his death. It wasn't meant for the world. It was a private note to a friend. "I'm finally at peace, man," Malcolm said calmly. "This trip, this place, I feel like I can breathe again." That line, "I can breathe again," haunted everyone, because in the end he couldn't. Memorials sprang up across the globe. Vigils in Los Angeles, Brooklyn, and Chicago. Murals glowing on walls in London and Johannesburg. People gathered outside his childhood home with candles and tears, whispering, "Not Malcolm, not like this." And what made it worse? He had plans, something beautiful. Malcolm had been secretly writing a memoir, his story unfiltered. The life of a child star who never spiraled, a man who survived fame and wanted to help others do the same. The title? Breathe Again. But that book will never be finished. That voice will never speak again. That light was stolen, not by time, but by silence. And millions felt it like a blade to the chest. The pain was too raw, too personal, too real. But then, as grief began turning into fury, a new witness came forward. And what they revealed could change everything. Because just when the world tried to mourn and heal, the official autopsy was released. And what it contained shattered everything. Water in Malcolm-Jamal Warner's lungs was expected. But what medical examiners also found was something no one had imagined. A rare neuroparalytic compound. A toxin that shuts down muscle movement, stops vocal cords, freezes the body. He didn't just drown. He was trapped inside his own body, fully awake, fully conscious, unable to scream, move or swim as water filled his lungs. It wasn't an accident. It was a slow, calculated, silent murder. Everything shifted. What once looked like a heartbreaking accident now felt like a cover-up, like someone wanted him silenced, like someone planned this. Hashtag surged, Chuck's justice for Malcolm. Theo deserved better. He was silenced. Fans flooded the internet with old clips of Malcolm laughing, speaking, living. Every smile now felt like a final goodbye. Something sacred stolen. Then another bombshell dropped. New surveillance footage from a marina security camera leaked. Malcolm appeared calm, walking along the dock, speaking on the phone. But then a shadow, a figure trailing him. Malcolm turned, said something, and the feed cut out, manually. Exactly 47 minutes before his body was found. Authorities confirmed the cut wasn't a glitch. It was deliberate. Now, the question wasn't if this was foul play. It was who wanted him gone and why. The whispers turned into storms. Insiders revealed Malcolm had been funding a dangerous documentary, a raw expose targeting systemic abuse in the entertainment industry. Not gossip, not rumors, names, real names, big ones. Network heads, producers, celebrities who still hold power today. People he trusted begged him to stop. He refused. He believed in truth. But in Hollywood, truth can be fatal. And then the erasure began. His phone, gone. His laptop was factory reset. His documentary footage vanished. Only one piece survived, an old hard drive. He had given to a sound engineer just days before flying out. On it, one last clip. Malcolm, calm, serious, looking directly into the camera. If anything happens to me, just know it wasn't an accident. I love life. I'm not depressed, but I love the truth more. And if telling it makes me a target, then so be it. The internet froze. That moment, one single clip lit a fire that refused to die. Candlelight vigils became protests. Studio lots were surrounded. Signs read, "Tell the truth for Theo. He warned us." Every co-star was bombarded. Every network executive went silent. Not one issued a public tribute. Not one posted condolences. Just static. And static often hides guilt. And then there was Malcolm's mother. She didn't just break down at the memorial. She broke the world's heart into pieces. With trembling hands and fire in her voice, she whispered, "They buried more than a man. They buried the truth, but I will be his voice. I will be the noise they cannot silence." That cry sparked a storm. Millions signed petitions overnight. Hollywood directors pledged to revive Malcolm's unfinished vision. Even celebrities who once bit their tongues suddenly found the courage to speak. And what they revealed was only the surface of a much deeper, darker ocean. But the ache, it stays. No justice can rewrite his final breath. No investigation can erase the terror of a man trapped in his body, sinking into silence while the world watched. One post read, "Theo Huxtable raised a generation. Malcolm saved us with his smile. And now they've stolen him from us." Another cut even deeper. This wasn't death. This was execution. And it won't be forgotten. Because here's the brutal truth. Malcolm's voice was meant to vanish quietly. Instead, it roars louder than ever. He's no longer just a sitcom star. He's a symbol of truth, of pain, of the price of honesty in a world built on secrets. Rest in power, Malcolm-Jamal Warner. You were silenced, but you started a movement. And now the world cannot unhear your scream. So before you scroll, pause. Ask yourself this. Was it an accident? Was it neglect? Or was it a message sent by those who wanted him quiet forever? Because this wasn't just the fall of Theo. It was the unraveling of a soul crushed beneath fame, trauma, and a system that didn't care. The leaked autopsy files. The friends breaking their silence. The warning signs ignored, dismissed, forgotten. They all point to one horrific conclusion. This wasn't a simple tragedy. This was a slow public erasure, and we let it happen. If this story shook you, if you felt that lump in your throat, when you heard how he was found, alone, broken, lungs full of pain, don't just scroll. Share this. Say his name. Let Hollywood know you can't use someone up and throw them away. Not anymore. Drop a comment if your childhood just shattered. Drop one if you're praying for justice. Drop it if you're ready to expose the truth. And hit that subscribe button, because we're not done yet. We've got more lies to destroy, more silence to rip open, more names to say before they vanish. Because behind every red carpet smile, there's a hidden scream the world refuses to hear.